no, having a nice car won't necessarily get you the girls. I wanted to make this video because a lot of people bring this up, and even actually before I got this car, I was already telling my friend, well, getting the car that doesn't help you get girls. It would maybe be 1 out of 25 or 30 things that's like this extra facet, but you don't ever want to lead with it. You don't ever want to necessarily lead with your wallet. And that's where Instagram is actually kind of a double-edged sword, because what happens with Instagram is, okay, they see all these things, and so yeah, if you did post some stuff about your car, or you post this or that trip, then they might think, okay, this guy has resources, maybe I can kind of piggyback on top of this. So it's like, it's a tough thing. It's just like, yeah, you want to look like a boss, but then, maybe it's not the right situation. That's why sometimes I take girls to Snapchat. Sometimes I take girls to text. Now, that being said, how much time will the car kind of buy you? And I kind of say that it'll buy you like maybe a day or two of kind of being this like mysterious kind of international man of mystery. You always have to be kind of like the Great Gatsby, guys. And it's kind of funny, but if you've ever seen the Great Gatsby, obviously it's a book. So if you've read the book or you watched the 2013 iteration of it with Leonardo DiCaprio, without giving it away, I'll tell you that the Great Gatsby, Jay Gatsby, was kind of this socialite character that nobody knew exactly where he came from, where his money came from, what he really did. You have to kind of be like that, where it's like, you don't necessarily kind of lead with it. You don't want to qualify yourself, jump out there, oh, I got this car. I mean, what are you going to do? What, you're in a bar and you drop your key fob and be like, I drive an Audi, I drive a Bentley, I drive this, I drive that. That in itself, you don't want to lead with that. You're going to have to go, obviously, off your game and all that kind of in sort of bar situations, or even on, I don't post like anything about the cars or anything like that on, out on any kind of like dating app or something like that. So, it's just something that you don't necessarily want to lead with. But again, you want to be kind of like a diamond that there's all these facets. So 20 to 30 facets. Each facet is going to buy you an extra day. Hopefully within that amount of time, then things will, should have, depending on the interactions and stuff, that it already got physical, and that hopefully you can leave a lasting impression. So, and obviously you're leading with, looks, physique, kind of like just the fact that you're like somewhat interesting, you seem like you're outdoorsy. A lot of that stuff doesn't cost any money. You go on a hike, doesn't necessarily cost that much money. And if you're crafty with booking your flights and stuff like that, I mean, I was seeing flights from Indianapolis to Fort Lauderdale for $30 in March, and you're like, well, that's really crazy, because that's when college spring break is. So you'd think that there'd be people that would have booked their flights kind of, out. So, look for cheap flights, book stuff early, this and that. You can actually kind of do a lot of vacations, a lot of traveling and stuff, kind of on a lot cheaper budget. So you can look, like you're pretty interesting, pretty well traveled and stuff like that, that you have a certain amount of resources. But in general, what I found out is, past a certain point, it isn't going to help you. Let's say if a guy was, frugal, kind of had his ducks in a row, so to speak, and let's say he made $50,000 a year. I would say $50,000 a year. That essentially, for the most part, you have the same access as someone that maybe earns maybe $250,000 a year. And I know that sounds, some people are going to say, no way, because this guy that earns $250,000 a year, he's going to be able to do this and that to a certain extent, but you don't want that interaction to be transactional. You don't want it that the girl's hanging around you. We don't like gold diggers. I don't want a girl being like, oh, you have a nice car, you have a fast car, so that's why she's hanging around you. She's trying to extract resources. Because at the end of the day, these 304s will bleed you dry, whether they're low level or, they're actually putting it out there. Always remember this, guys. Lions don't eat roadkill. You don't want these 304s. If you're wondering what a 304 is, basically if you type in 304 in a calculator and turn it upside down, it spells hoe, I guess. So anyway, it's like the little code word, the 304s. But a lot of these girls, you don't want them latching on you like some sort of leech. And you notice with a lot of these 304s that there's no amount of money and no amount of time that these men like supported them that they're not going to kind of strike back and they're going to try to extract more resources. We see this, there's all this weird stuff right now going on, coming out with Hugh Hefner. And again, I'm not trying to defend him, but at the end of the day, these women were hanging around him because he was sort of providing this lifestyle for them. So now they're coming out and saying he was just, worse than everybody can imagine and all this kind of stuff and all these other things. And it's like, now they're acting like they've been victimized. And it's like, well, I mean, you were hanging around him because of the money and that he could provide you this certain lifestyle anyway. So, again, and I'm going to kind of back off of that subject, and I'm going to reiterate kind of this situation. A lot of people laugh because, and I don't know if you guys kind of see the logo in the back and everything, but it's the bee with the wing. It's the bee with the wings. It's a Bentley, and I don't want you guys, thinking that, this was a good value. This was a good value that I was able to get into. The car's fast, got 600 horsepower, but this isn't something that I would lead with when trying to interact with girls. Now, I'm going to go back to kind of my general set that I would the way I would kind of orchestrate things in Tucson, for instance. I was always trying to spend literally less than $10 or $15. And what I would do is I would park. I knew where to park where I didn't have to pay. And, on top of that, they wouldn't see my car. So I would meet them, at this place called Sky Bar that had a telescope on the patio. You could buy like a cheap drink. It wasn't too noisy. You could talk. You could chill there, look at the rings of Saturn, look at the moons of Saturn. You could see 6 of them through it. You could look at Mars. You could actually see the Orion Nebula. You can see a lot through that telescope. It was actually pretty cool. And then things going well. Then we would go over to the hut, and there was like giant Jenga. There were some games like that, stuff like that. So there's 2 things. Get a little bit of competitive stuff going. You didn't really spend that much. And I wasn't really trying to spend that much, so they don't know what car you drive. Now, I've had that happen where girls would be like, wait, where's your car? Oh, it's over there. And whether I was driving, a nice car or I wasn't, that's besides the point. She shouldn't be worried about what car I'm driving. A woman should not be worried about what car you're driving. As long as you have transportation, you're a chill dude, you're not, what I mean? She shouldn't be worried about that. And then it was just, again, you'll get bled out by a lot of these women, and you see a lot of these relationships, these guys that are in these relationships, and it's just like they're absolutely miserable and they're getting bled out. And if they can't keep like a certain lifestyle like upheld, then essentially, like, obviously if marriage has already taken place, then she can go ahead and go after alimony, child support, and all that stuff through divorce. So very, very risky. But just to kind of circle back around to the main topic of the story, the car is only going to be one facet. It's only going to buy you a day or two of being this mystique, this international man of mystery, this Great Gatsby type character. And, beyond that, it's not going to like get you the girl. Like, I mean, none of this stuff will. Like, it's not like, oh, when you get jacked, you're going to then get the girl. Or, when you get the motorcycle, then you'll get the girl. When you finally be able to like play this guitar riff, then you'll get the girl. All those are facets. You need 20 to 30 of those facets. And you have to, this is one of the things that it's very hard to kind of define someone's game. Like, if it's good or it's not, because different people, they're going to repeat what they've had success with. And I'm going to expand on this on the next video. You're going to always expand on, you're always going to like continue with what you've had success with previously. And so it's very hard for someone to look from the outside in and say, you know, does this guy have a good game? Now, having good social interaction, keep maintaining good eye contact, not oversharing. You want to be a partial mystique, get her to talk more than you talk, all these things. Then, you know, and then when she uncovers like a different part of the mystery, and here's the reason why you want to be a mystery, guys. Think about what these girls watch on Netflix all the time. It's always these murder mysteries. They're always into these murder novels, like these mystery novels, stuff like that. And so subconsciously, you need to be that mystique. You need to be that international man of mystery, so that they have, you're suddenly her project. She wants to find out about you, figure you out. And so you don't want to ever have everything kind of up front. But that being said, hopefully that makes sense, guys. The car will not get you the girl. It will buy you a day or two, and you don't want to lead with it. It needs to be this secondary thing. She finds out about it later. And I'm not a guy that's going to push her hard. Oh, let me pick you up for the date. No, I mean, just, you know, if she wants you to pick you up for the date, then maybe do it. But, you know, don't maybe make it forceful or anything like that. You know, just let things happen naturally and stuff like that. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense, guys. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I want to come out with more bangers, more content, and hit the bell icon so you can get notified when I come out with another video. Peace, guys.